Hi everybody, welcome to my homestead and welcome to my channel. This is going to be comments episode 23. I have a lot of comments to catch up on. I've been kind of busy lately, so let's just get right into it. Starting it off, we have Betty Horn in response to comments episode 22. She says, people have to be careful not to diagnose or prescribe any change to a person's medicine or diet unless they have an education in such. I personally don't consider the Huffington Post as a reliable source of anything but entertainment, if you call that entertaining. So she's just referring to another comment that was made about things that can help with this, with diabetes. She says, I have type 1 diabetes, the autoimmune kind, and in my case, it has nothing to do with celiac. There's a theory among certain doctors, whom I can name if necessary, that type 1 diabetes could be related to the human body's reaction to cow's milk in some people. But we have to be careful where we get our information and who we listen to. Just like the gospel, be careful who you consider an expert. Yeah, and I would definitely agree. We got to be careful where we get our information. So appreciate your comment. In response to the same video, Monty Michelle Wilkinson says, home on the range. I like the background and it suits you. Thank you. I hope you like this one too. I'm trying to build up a portfolio of different virtual backgrounds, just like whenever I go on a drive. And just a couple days ago, we had kind of a foggy day and I thought this looked pretty good. But the one that you're talking about, that was from a long time ago. And you may be interested to know that that song is actually the state song, the official state song for Kansas. my great grandma used to sing that to me, and I almost kind of feel like that was like a foreshadowing now that I live here in Kansas. Thanks for the comment. In response to Revelation 12, the woman, the child, the wilderness, Arithi Litharaga Olascoaga says, in my opinion, and in the opinion of many others, there will be another apostasy at the very end of times now. We're seeing it with false teachings. LGBT beliefs, supremacist feminism, anti-nationalism, abortion, explosion of pornography addiction, giving more stress on ecology over biblical moral laws. Yeah. Now, see, I've heard this too about that there'd be another apostasy. I don't know where that comes from though. So if you have a source of that, I would appreciate it. But as far as the church goes, and when it comes to Revelation 12, the church's interpretation is that it was the great apostasy that was talking about. That's according to the chapter heading, the footnotes, also the Institute manual. So I don't know if those other people are thinking that Revelation 12 is referring to an apostasy in the last days, but if that's the only source, I don't think so, based on the study that I've done. But if you have additional information, then let me know. In response to comments episode 22, Mia Martin says, okay, another kind of long comment. So if I have time, I'll come back to that. In response to interview with Brother Guerrero says, either my mic was super high or I'm talking loud. I don't think so. I think, I was able to hear you just fine. It wasn't too loud. I thought it was okay. So, and I hope I get to talk to you again sometime. In response to the same video, Kathy Price. Kathy, I didn't know if you were gone or if you had unsubscribed from my channel. It's been a while. She says, I agree with you about conference. There was a lot more talk about getting ready for the New Jerusalem than most people thought. Eyes to see and ears to hear. We know, in all caps, things are so close. So what the leaders are saying are what we need to hear. Totally agree. Totally agree. Thank you for the comment. Let's see. In response to the same video, Mia Martin says, with an emoji, first, know thyself. Reflection and self correction is very helpful in our personal growth. Um, I feel we should judge what we see in others and take personal notes on if it's right or wrong. And if it's right, it is something we can emulate to better ourselves. But if we judge something to be wrong, we should take it to heart and ask ourselves, are we doing anything like what we see to be wrong in another? The better analysis, what personal changes we need to make within ourselves, since the only person we can change is ourselves, which can help guide and direct others to emulate our behavior, especially since control and judgmental criticism are from Satan. Yeah, it depends on the type of judging. Of course, we have those who are authorized to judge in this life, and those would be bishops, stake presidents. We do also have to judge for ourselves who we're going to spend time with, and if we're in a bad situation, or if we need to, help someone not make a bad decision. So when it comes to judging, it really just kind of depends, but we do need to judge for ourselves what's right and wrong and who we associate with. And we shouldn't try and tell people where they're going to go after this life, because we don't know. We shouldn't be trying to exercise any disciplinary action on them unless we have authority to do so. We're a parent of a child, we're a bishop of a ward, we're a stake president of a stake, etc. So, but yeah, really the only thing that we can do is change ourselves and try and be an example to others, and be a light, right? We're supposed to be a light to the world. Thanks for the comment. In response to the same video, Taryn R says, great interview, great video. Thank you so much. I had a really good time talking to Brother Guerrero. So yeah, that was a good time. In response to calf relaxing and eating, Ducky Ducky says, very nice. I'm glad you liked it, Ducky Ducky. Like your name. In response to the interview with Brother Guerrero, Betty Horn says, I watched this on Brother Guerrero's channel. You asked some great questions and I love the content. I think many people within and without the church are addicted to sensationalism and conflict. Thus, they don't see and are therefore asleep to the nuances and simple truths being taught in general conference. Perhaps we can talk more about it when we do the Zoom. And as of this recording, the time of this recording, we have done that Zoom with Betty Horn. So I'd encourage you to go check that out. That was also a great conversation. And yeah, I think there's people expecting probably way too much, or maybe not, well, yeah, kind of way too much, or they're expecting that just very sensational stuff out of the second coming. And I think it's going to happen a lot more naturally. That we may miss the mark if that's what we're expecting, just like a big movie to play out. Let's see. I'll do this one. In response to the same video, Mia Martin says, curious note, if the Jews didn't recognize Jesus to be their Messiah, would members of our own church recognize a Messiah here, having another earthly experience before they are translated back into the Garden of Eden, New Jerusalem, butterfly emoji? It's a good question. It's a good question, because I don't think that, and I'm not trying to call anybody a Pharisee, but I don't think that Phariseeism or Sadduceeism or whatever, I don't think that that's restricted to New Testament times. That's human nature. We've always dealt with it. There's those kind of people in the church that yeah, I don't know, that would probably not recognize Christ if he came. So I agree with that. Let's see. In response to my part 1, why you should join the military, Mia Martin says, Veterans Day. Vet equals make a careful and critical examination of something. Aaron equals roused, awakened. S equals Savior Day. Emoji like that. In response to the same video, Arith Litharaga Olaskawaga says, in the UK and France, they also celebrate Armistice the Armistice Day, to commemorate the Great War, the First World War end. But they celebrate all wars. My father-in-law was fighting in East Germany, North Ireland, and several other countries during the Cold War, so he puts on his medals. That's cool. You forgot to mention something very relevant from the military. Soldiers learn a lot about self-reliance, food storage. I don't know about food storage, but well, yeah, there's definitely food is critical, and that's why we have the quartermaster corps and quartermasters, which are with anyway. I'm not going to get into that. At least being in the Army gives a good idea of what's best to store, what are the best tents, how to kindle a fire. Yeah, yeah, and I'm not done with that. I wasn't able to put everything into that video, so I'm going to do like probably a part 2, maybe a part 3. So we'll just see how that goes. In response to the same video, Betty Forden says, I am a military brat. In fact, I have military in every generation since before the US Revolution, and representation in every war and conflict our country has been in, including my nephew who was in Afghanistan and Iraq. My dad was actually a prisoner of war of the Japanese in World War II, and his brother was killed in the Battle of Salerno in 1943. I have an ancestor who was a general under George Washington. I was almost born in Turkey, but they changed my dad's orders at the last minute. So to say I grew up in a patriotic home would be an understatement. Thank you and all veterans, including my husband, for your service. Yes, I thank everybody that has served in their service and their families too, because it's not easy being a military family. You might as well be in the Army as well, or whatever service you're in. There's a lot of sacrifice from everybody that's involved in that whole thing. So I don't have a whole lot of military like that in my ancestry, but there is some, including Revolutionary War, but none in like World War I, II, or even Vietnam or anything like that. So but that's really cool that you have that, Betty. In response to EJ talking about the interview with Brother Guerrero, they say, not sure I follow the idea that was suggested that people didn't like conference. You must have different ward/stake dynamics than where I live. Also, not sure what you mean by we have a lot of contention. Are you referring to your church circles or the world in general? I would agree that the world in general is constantly in a state of contention, but the church, thankfully, I'm not seeing it where I live. Well, I can't speak for Brother Guerrero, but for myself, because I agree with him, there is a lot of contention. I see it among my circle of friends. Well, my circle, like Facebook and stuff like that, people that throughout your life. There's a lot of contention over politics, even within the church. There are people that are more on this side of the political spectrum and those that are on that side. And there are some people that to me seem like they've made politics their religion, and that's like all that they ever talk about. So I see it a lot on social media. There's a lot of members that are kind of like going the way of the world, and there's debate and contention about that. You go to BYU, there's going to be a lot of that there. There's a lot of students there that are getting confused by the messages that they're receiving from some of these more secular professors, and then there's those that know better, and so there's heated debate. It wasn't really like this, I don't think, before this last decade or two. There's a lot of contention over a variety of different things, especially after last year, 2020, right? Because you have all the anger and debate and contention over BLM, and that's spilled over into the church. I've seen that myself within my social media. People that are members of the church getting angry over it and debating each other. So it's definitely around. You're probably not going to see it so much within your own ward and stuff, but um, you know, because usually people are a lot more civil in person. They're less daring. I noticed that when I was first working at a call center back after high school, after I got out of high school, and you know, people are more daring over the phone, right? Because they're not actually there with you. And then even more daring on social media or in like comment sections because they have just that much more anonymity. So yeah, you probably won't see it as much in person, like at church. But you know, you can see the people that, you know, like to argue and those that have really strong opinions, and it's there. It's just if you look for it, it's there. Even just here on YouTube, it is there. What was your other thing that you said? Not sure I follow the idea that was just that people didn't like conference. I think he just meant that there's some people that get bored with conference, and that's not just like this recent conference. That's like been forever. Um, you know, I've had friends that have been like, why don't they say something new? Why don't they come out with some new revelation? And again, it's like that sensationalism. People are wanting like something grand and amazing to happen in conference. And it does actually happen, just not the way that they want it to happen. They want like the prof to be like, okay, this has been in the works for a long time, but we have a new book of scripture that we're going to roll out this year. The church has made a discovery and we haven't told it to the world. Like, that's what some people want. They want that excitement. They want that, you know, fantastic stuff. So anyway, I think that's what he was referring to. People that just get bored with what they think are the same messages over and over again, that miss, you know, the themes, the wording of certain things, the emphasis on certain ideas, because they're looking for sensationalism. Okay, so I'm going to end this one right here. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video. If you liked it, hit the notification bell, leave more comments, and we'll do more episodes just like this, and I'll talk to you guys later.